Good morning YouTube. Kevin here, Conicus Rex. It's a slightly grey and damp Saturday morning here in Cornwall. Hopeful that it might dry up a bit so that me and Charlie can get out and about a bit, because we've got a boys' day together, just me and the puppy. I've been struggling to keep up with the YouTube videos, and been struggling to find the time to make a video. But I've noticed a couple of occasions recently where slight cheats have gone on and people have combined VRs and managed 2 or even 3 VRs in a single video. So, taking that as a challenge, I'm going to try and fit 5 VRs into this video. Doesn't really matter if I don't qualify for the draws, or I'm too late in fact for some of them. I might well be. It's the taking part and the getting back into the swing of making videos that counts. So I've got to do this in a bit of an order. First one is Sapient Smoke, who amongst other things has given away a beautiful handmade pouch, which is an attraction in itself. Anyway, Sapient Smoke wanted to see us pack a pipe and smoke it. So I have some some Oak Alley actually from Cornwall Deal, given to me by Ed, Grandpa Cavendish, in a 7LE320. I'm not particularly bothered about packing systems or rituals. I tend to pop it in, press it down, light it, and hopefully it stays lit. Tamper to hand. Zippo, because I can never find matches. Maybe we should let this dry out a little bit first. The second part of Sapient Smoke's request was that we chatted while we were having a bowl. So, moving on to the next one, a bearded piper asked us to show our favourite pipe and to explain why we smoke a pipe. Well, this 320 is my favourite pipe. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wanted a 320 for a long old time, dropped very many subtle hints, and my good lady wife fought the good fight Christmas before last, and acquired it from an Italian website in Italian because she didn't notice the little button that changed everything to English. And that for me showed true devotion. On top of that, it's a glorious shape, fits the hand. It smokes well. Why do I smoke a pipe? Well, I've been smoking a pipe off and on since I was about 25. A lot of off actually. I had a 12 to 15 year gap in there. In fact, I've had a couple of gaps, but I finally came back to the pipes again a couple of years ago. It suits my personality. I like to have something to fiddle with. I like to have a reason to sit still and think. And whilst people do things with a pipe, I've never been much of a clencher. So I tend to sit or stand, but I tend to concentrate on the pipe rather than anything else. What do we got next? Pip's Pipery Practices. Now, Pip's question was really simple. He wanted a discussion topic or a question put to him which he could possibly answer in a future video. Now, I've thought long and hard about this because I want to offend no one, but I'm quite confident that Pip won't take this the wrong way, so here it goes. I have no tattoos or body art, no piercings, no earrings, no nothing. Pip is almost the opposite. Pip seems to have sampled virtually every form of body art going. And Pip, I'm fascinated particularly by the studs in your head, which I rarely see because you often wear a hat, but I have seen them on occasion. And I want to know, do you take them out to clean them, or are they a fixture? And I am also aware that you travel to the States on a reasonable regular basis. Does it have an impact getting through airport security? And like I said, I don't want to offend anybody, so if you consider the questions too personal, Pip, please just ignore me completely. So that's 3. Number 4 would be Joshua in the Woods. Joshua is I'm sure most of you have seen him. If you haven't seen him, he's a slightly civilised American version of Tarzan. He spends his life hiking trails and wandering into the wilderness. He enjoys nature and being surrounded by it. As do I, but in the UK there are less options for the vast expanses of wilderness that you have in the Americas. I'm fortunate enough to live in a reasonably remote area on an area of moorland, and whilst there are people nearby and I work in a town, my home life is quiet. Joshua asked for us to either visit or describe a place which is special to us. Feel free to disqualify me for this, but I haven't got one place. I have a multitude of places I've visited over the years and who have contributed to memories stretching back to when I was a child. and I keep them within, and that is my sacred place. When I need a moment, wherever I am, I can travel inside, and I can visit all those places. I can visit the electricity pylon in a field near where I grew up, where myself and several friends used to gather and talk. Because what we know now about magnetic currents and the impact on human bodies and things like that, probably wasn't a great place to meet, but we used to meet there. Sit precariously balanced on the lower legs of the pylons, hurl abuse at each other, discuss football, not very much else really. And then there's memories of bus journeys in Singapore. I was only there for just over a year, but I have memories of standing at the side of the road and watching the school bus disappear with my friends, particularly on the last day of school. The school actually closed completely, and most of us were heading home fairly shortly, and I was reasonably confident I'd never see any of them again, and indeed I haven't. That's a poignant memory. And then there's memories more recently of when my son was younger, and we would spend a lot of time on the north coast, either at Widmouth Bay or Fistral Beach, bodyboarding and playing in the surf. And later on we used to avoid Fistral and go mainly to Widmouth. And the area where we parked the car was considerably higher than the beach, and we had an old Series 3 Land Rover. And after we came out of the water, we would gather around the Land Rover and have a hot drink. Depending on the temperature, we'd either strip off the wetsuits straight away, or we'd just sit around in the wetsuits. And some of my favourite moments are sat on the bonnet or the wings of the Land Rover, just watching the sea and watching the other surfers in the water. While my son, possibly a friend or two, played around, my wife would be nearby reading a book, and shiver slightly as the wind from the top of the hill rushes past an already cold body. I take a delight with a hot drink, hot chocolate, tea, whatever it was, and then slowly get dressed, pile everything soggy and damp into the back of the Land Rover and come home. And then there's the moor. It can be bleak and wet and very uninviting, as it currently is. The drier paths are few and far between. But my wife and I have enjoyed many a peaceful walk around here together. And we will do again, now that the puppy has arrived and the need for exercise becomes more apparent. Our previous dog, as he got older, couldn't go more than a few hundred yards before he started getting tired and wanted to head about home, so walks were cut short. Indeed, was it last week? Must have been last week possibly, or maybe the week before. We ventured up to Newquay and took Charlie onto the beach the first time, let him see the sand and the waves. All these things, all these little snippets are stored away, and I can visit them whenever I wish to. That, Joshua, that is my sacred place. So that's number 4. Number 5, Smokey Dan. Smokey Dan wants us to read to him. He didn't specify what. I've chosen a bit of poetry from my youth, my early teens. I went to a reasonably traditional English grammar school, and I was supposed to be in love with the likes of Tennyson and Shakespeare and all that. Well, I've never held Shakespeare in much regard. As far as I can gather, he was a tabloid journalist of his day who used the same plot over and over again and changed the names. Clever man. That's how he made his living, but he was nothing more than a popular storyteller. Anyway, that's what I was supposed to be looking at. That's what I was supposed to be enjoying. And being a slightly rebellious teenager, I went the other way. I fell over an anthology of 3 poets called The Mersey Sound, published by Penguin, and they were poets from the Liverpool, Mersey area, offering a different kind of poetry. And I'm not a great poet, not a great lover of poetry, but I enjoyed that book. It was one of the first things I bought my wife before we were married, was a copy of that book. And we have 2 copies around the house somewhere, mine and hers. But as you expect, I can find neither whilst I'm making this video. So I'm going to read what I want electronically, would you believe? And that's a modern invention, if ever we've heard one. And this is a poem by Adrian Henry, one of the 3 poets in the book. The other 2 being Roger McGuff and Brian Patton. And I've just managed to click off the link. But I think I found it again. Roger McGuff has probably got more in the book that I jumped at, but this particular entry from Adrian Henry jumped out at me back then. And still explains my slightly strange view of the world. It's called Tonight at Noon. Tonight at noon, supermarkets will advertise 3p extra on everything. Tonight at noon, children from happy families will be sent to live in a home. Elephants will tell each other human jokes, and America will declare peace on Russia. World War I generals will sell poppies on the street on November the 11th. The first daffodils of autumn will appear when the leaves fall upwards to the trees. Tonight at noon, pigeons will hunt cats through city backyards. Hitler would tell us to fight on the beaches and the landing fields. A tunnel full of water will be built under Liverpool. Pigs will be sighted flying in formation over Walton, and Nelson will not only get his eye back, but his arm as well. White Americans will demonstrate for equal rights in front of the Black House, and the monster has just created Dr. Frankenstein. Girls in bikinis are moonbathing. Folk songs are being sung by real folk. Art galleries are closed to people over 21, and poets will get their names in the top 20. There's jobs for everybody and nobody wants them. In back alleys everywhere, teenage boys, apologize. Teenage lovers are kissing in broad daylight. In forgotten graveyards everywhere, the dead will quietly bury the living. And you will tell me you love me tonight at noon. That was also covered by the Jam in one of their songs. Adrian Henry was a big influence on Paul Weller, so I understand. So there you have it. 5 VRs in one response. Like I said, if I've cheated, missed deadlines, or you just feel like disqualifying me, that's fine and dandy. It's not the winning that counts, it's the taking part. Although I would be particularly glad to enjoy that pouch from Sapient Smoke. And if you ever get around to producing those and wanting to sell them commercially, my friend, please let me know. So to all of you, all 5 of you, Sapient Smoke, Joshua in the Woods, Smokey Dan, Pip and Billy Piper, congrats on the subs. Thanks for the contests. Thanks for the entertaining videos you all put out. And I'll leave you there. Stay happy, my friends.